Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. A banger of a 3-hour program lined up today. Among our guests, Nick Whalen, coming up in 30 minutes to preview Monday Night Football. Professional sports bettor Paul Bovey in studio in an hour. And Warren Sharp in 90 minutes. Week 1 observations, Week 2 numbers, maybe a little Monday Night Football with Warren at that time. And Paulie, obviously a ton of National Football League talk tonight. We're going to hit the Monday night game a couple times. We have the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't want to overreact, but always, Week 1 is always one of the best times of the year to get into that. And win-lose coming up in 45 minutes will be outstanding. So we say this all the time on this show. You probably hear it constantly on this network as well. It's better to be lucky than good. But I think in order to be good, you have to be lucky. And that comes, with betting anything, but specifically the NFL. And whether you're investing your hard-earned money and betting these games on a daily or a weekly basis, or you're getting involved in ATS contests, you have to have the breaks go your way. You have to win the coin flip games more often than not. And yesterday was like the perfect example of how many coin flip games we had. Unfortunately for me, I was on the wrong end of a bunch of them. So already off to a bad start with some of the ways that these broke. But Bucks Falcons, absolutely coin flip game. Yep. And Koo does it again. He haunted that team last year.
Come on, Jonathan Vilma. I can't believe he missed. I'm shocked.
I was listening to that live.
He missed 9 kicks last year.
He was terrible last year.
Come on, man. Does it again. To your point, whether it's ATS contests, Circa Millions, or Survivor around the world in the best contest in the world right here at Circa. The Broncos, squeaky bum time. All the turnovers.
Sure.
Nonsense. Knicks was atrocious. So was Peyton. Steeler game. Cardinals. Is it a touchdown? Oh, the head ball comes loose, right? You can bet your ass Moore's going to go for 2 in the win as well. Seattle, San Francisco. How do you lose that if you have Seattle?
Made me sick.
The Bengals. How did the Bengals win the game? They had 7 yards of offense in the second half. The kid misses an extra point and a 35-yard field goal. Give me a break.
Much like going back to last Thursday, Dak Prescott deserved better. Joe Flacco deserved a lot better yesterday.
Sure he did.
His wide receivers completely let him down. Back-to-back drops when they're driving in Bengals territory.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, and then your big boy is Sunday night.
Well, that's going to haunt me for the next who knows how long.
Which I know you could have grabbed like 20, 30 to 1 on the Bills in play, but Evan Abrams had a great tweet, and again, this is what Harbaugh does. I can't trust this organization. Sick and tired of the Ravens. Most double-digit leads blown since 2020. 49ers 13, Ravens 12. He did it last year against the Raiders in Week 2. He does it again to start. How about you go for 2? How about you actually go for it when it's 4th and 2? Where are the RPOs? You have Lamar Jackson and Henry. They cannot stop you. How do you lose that game?
Yep.
Ridiculous.
So a lot of numbers to get into from that game. And I had them in the contest. It was my biggest bet as well for the weekend. But that's something like, do you really look at taking the other side, Paul, when they go up 40-25 and they're just marching along? I mean, they were a machine. And you're like, oh, my God, Baltimore's not going to lose this year. And
right.
I have them -1. I got a money line. I got them every which way but loose, right?
40-32, I would have considered it.
You would have.
Yes.
It's something I'm going to have to file away. Like, what's the cash out at that point, right? Are they offering me pretty much my entire bet?
Correct.
Then why?
Pretty much.
Just why take the chance?
It's a good idea.
I think I'm going to have to start to do that from now on.
That's a good idea, especially in baseball. But that's the missed extra point comes back to haunt you.
Okay, so again,
I like what you said before the show. You have Jackson and Henry. Every time you run the ball, they're a total sieve. Or you can just keep it, and Flowers is wide open.
Yes. They had no answer for you the entire game. And if, by the way, the correct move there is to go for 2. I'm not saying that because he missed the extra point, but you go for 2 to go up by 17 points. Much like the correct move, no brainer. And this really got me steaming mad watching the game. I'm bitter because I had a loser. Why would you punt?
Oh, that's terrible.
And as I tweeted out, can you read the room, please? This was Buffalo in the fourth quarter. They started the one drive with like 2 plays in the third quarter, but this carried over into the fourth, And beginning in the fourth quarter, they finished off that drive by going 72 yards, scored a touchdown in 2 minutes. There was a 2-minute drive in there that resulted in a punt, got the ball back. 80 yards in just over 3 minutes, touchdown, scored in a minute after Henry fumbled to make it 40-38 Baltimore. And then 4th and 2, again, this is a great tweet that I got from Schmidt on X. He was listening to the Bills radio call of the game on that series, 4th and 2. And they were basically saying the tone was, they will run the RPO when they need the first down, and we can't stop it. And they didn't even say, here, Lamar, put the ball in your hands and go make magic happen. Let's punt the ball back when you had no chance of stopping Buffalo for the most part over that entire second half, but more importantly, the fourth quarter. Here you go, Josh. 90 seconds to play. And we're up by 2, by the way. So all you have to do is get in field goal range.
Yes, a field goal beats you. How do you punt there? Oh, that's cowardly. Oh, it's so bad, Harbaugh.
And by the way, this is from a guy who has embraced analytics for a long time.
That's right. Goes for 2 in the win all the time. Goes for it in his own territory on a regular, except this time. Come on.
Benjamin Solak with a tweet. The Ravens have now lost 8 games since 2021, in which at one point during the game they had a win probability of at least 90%.
Oh, come on.
That's 3 more than the next closest team.
That's a money quote.
That's how bad it is.
Good tweet. File this away when the 1 seed's on the line in December, by the way.
How about this one? From Dante Fleming. Teams with 40-plus points and 235-plus rushing yards in a game were 277-0, including the playoffs. There you go. The one loser.
Yeah.
And the Bills are the first team in NFL history to be down by 15-plus points with under 4 minutes left, and they won the game in regulation. Yeah, I'm on the Ravens every way imaginable.
Yep.
You can't have that stuff go against you.
Sick.
And here's the thing.
They let up, too. That's the other thing. They let up.
Yep.
That's on the coach. You do this on a regular basis. And I'd say the same thing if it was Shanahan. Shanahan does it on a regular basis. Go for the kill shot. Put them away. But they got comfortable. Buffalo didn't quit. And now you go home with a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, that wasn't even a coin flip game at 40-25. The game's over with.
No, yeah, totally.
Everything that we just ran down, impossible to lose the game.
Yeah. Ozzie said someone saw 40-1.
I would buy it.
I believe it. I mean, to be down in that situation, 5-6 minutes left and come all the way back and win, that's just unacceptable. But just madness. That's how the season should start every single year. Crazy.
What do you want to say about Baltimore long-term this year, by the way? Because
I can't take them seriously.
They're so freaking good, it's insane.
Yeah, but I don't care. They'll find a way to lose again. Oh. Just like last year. They were the better team. They turned the ball over 3 times. You have the silly drop from Andrews. They'll find a way to lose. That offense is going to be unstoppable this year. Unfreaking stoppable. Well, are they going to stop people?
There you go.
What happened to the defense?
Well, it was also like they're taking on that elite offense as well by the MVP, led by the MVP. But
Bills-Jets should be fun Sunday. I would say the Bills have a lot of issues too. I mean, Flowers is wide open. Yeah. Feel free to cover somebody here. What the options were, but their schedule certainly sets up easy coming up in a lot of winnable games, and they should be. You look at what happened in the division around them. Patriots looked like trash. The big news at halftime: the Patriots removed Drake May from the Hall of Fame. That was a big story. What happened with the Jets? Although that was entertaining, they can't stop anything. And the Dolphins might be the worst team in the league. So certainly right there for the Bills to get the 1 seed, even with a porous defense.
I'm stronger on this than I was before the season started, and they should have lost the game last night. I would lay up to 4.5 games that they're going to win the division by.
Yeah, now that's up to $6, $7.
Yeah,
interesting. What that price is now. That everyone lost in the division and what they looked like.
Well, based on one game, and not to overreact here, but the Jets look like they're going to be the closest competition. Mm-hmm. Like Fields was awesome yesterday, but also like what does that mean for the Steelers long term with that defense? Mm-hmm. Because what if he doesn't play like that the entire year? The Steelers defense not going to be the same unit that we've grown to love over the last 25 years.
Oh, I was shocked by that. They had no answer.
No.
They gashed him on the ground.
Killed him.
Yeah, whatever they wanted. It was just a big turnover. And Boswell, which he's in Opry territory, from 56 and 60. And hit the net. Would have been good from 70.
I think, you know what, and this was, you were betting him a lot last year down the stretch. As long as the price is right, don't you have to look at betting Boswell like almost every single game to have the longest field goal?
Well, it's just like Aubrey. He trusts him from anywhere on the field.
Sure.
He was in a damned if you do situation there at the end, but he'll trot him out there from 56 on 4th and short.
Yep.
He doesn't care.
How about
it was a great win for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
How about the overall lack of upsets?
Well, I know, but we should have had some. I mean, there's just no way Cincinnati should win that game.
No, none.
No way. Arizona messed around. We broke the story. We had it here live yesterday that Murray woke up sick. Denver's not supposed to win that game. 4 takeaways by Tennessee resulted in only 6 points. And Callahan was also bad in that game. I mean, you recover the muff punt and you go past, you get sacked back-to-back plays. Run something safe. You're already in field goal range. You have a rookie quarterback. You know that's going to happen. And then what he did before halftime. They're backed up, and then Denver only has 2 timeouts. If you run the ball 3 times, you go to halftime. He goes pass, pass, pass. Denver gets a short field. They cash in and have throw a touchdown pass.
Brian, we're going to play some audio from Brian Callahan a little bit later on in the show. We'll ask you, when a coach makes a comment like this, and he's not even admitting it, he flat out doesn't know the rules, how does he have a job? It was a very important play in the game.
Yeah.
He didn't challenge because he thought that they were going to lose automatically. He does not know the rules. That would have been a catch. I could not believe he said this after the game.
Yeah.
I don't know how the guy has a job today. No exaggeration. You have to know this. You have to.
Yeah.
Up next, another Week 1 betting storyline has to do with totals. Unders crush it during Week 1. We'll give you the numbers coming up and look at Week 2 point spreads and totals coming up here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We'll hit Monday Night Football here. Get some player props as we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Nick Whalen joins the program now. He is with RotoWire. He's going to join us on Mondays throughout the entire football season to talk Monday Night Football. Follow him on X at WHA, the number 1 EN. Nick, good afternoon. How did Week 1 treat you?
It was a week of ups and downs, guys. Good to be here again to recap it. Tough break on Baltimore. Played them in Circa Millions. So thought the hay was in the barn there with about 4 minutes left. And, you look away for a couple minutes and all of a sudden, there's Buffalo lining up somehow for a game-winning field goal. So that was that was a tough kick at the end of the Sunday. But other than that, things went all right. It was heavily leveraged in the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we talked about last week, which is not something I would recommend doing very often, but when they are at home against the Carolina Panthers, even when there's a 90-minute weather delay in the middle of the second quarter, I was glad to see that they were able to take care of business. We escaped with Arizona, luckily stayed away from Denver in the contest, but overall, slightly more hits than misses so far in Week 1, but we'll see if that continues tonight.
I couldn't believe Miami. To have 30 yards in the first half. And for the first time since 1977, a team scored on every possession. That was a travesty what happened in that game.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. I write up a pick for every game over at RotoWire each week, and every week I do a Nick Whalen stay away of the week, the game I'm not betting no matter what. And this was an easy choice. But to be honest, in my heart of hearts, I probably would have leaned Miami. I kind of bought in on this idea of, okay, I don't like betting futures with the Dolphins because you worry about everybody staying healthy. You worry about Tyreek Hill staying on the roster, staying out of trouble. But Week 1, all right, Tua's healthy, Tyreek's healthy, Waddle's healthy. Maybe they come out of the gates fast. They're playing in a dome. That was an all-time laydown. I mean, you knew that game was over by the end of the first quarter. I think it was, 43 yards of total offense in the first half. I mean, Tyreek Hill has now gone a full calendar year, guys, without a play of more than 30 yards. I mean, that's what Tyreek Hill does. Wow. If he's not doing that, I don't know what else he's really giving you. And, now it puts us in this strange situation where it's like Miami can't possibly play that worse again in Week 2, could they? And, are we now overvaluing the Indianapolis Colts? I don't feel like we got a representative sample from either of these teams. There's no way that might be Daniel Jones' best fantasy game of the entire season. I will say the one thing that I think we can take away from that game concretely is that Tyler Warren is going to be a factor for the Colts right away. I mean, this is a guy that, he was kind of going as like the tight end 11 or 12, like borderline starter in a lot of leagues. I mean, 78% snap share for him before garbage time, was on the field for 27 of 33 passing plays, a guy that they use in the slot. They split him out wide. They use him as a traditional tight end. I mean, 2 series into the game, it was clear that he belongs on the field.
No question. So we were talking about this before the break as well. Paulie and I brought up the name Harold Fannin a lot in the offseason, and yet I stayed away from him yesterday. It was I thought it was going to be smaller, a smaller number than 19.5. I mean, he just flies by that, and laddering him yesterday would have been a dream come true. So you could go any position here, but based on injuries or based on results from week 1, is there a guy that you're looking to pick up either in fantasy or maybe to ladder in week 2?
Yeah, I mean, as far as fantasy goes, I actually think the most opportunity right now is probably at the tight end position. It's a pretty tough week if you need a running back. And thankfully, we didn't see too many running back injuries. But, Dylan Sampson in Cleveland would probably be the guy. But then, Quinshon Judkins might make his debut. So I'm just trying to stay away from that situation as a whole. But Brock Bowers, George Kittle, Evan Ingram all come out of week 1, varying degrees of banged up. So, if you're playing fantasy, there's a pretty decent chance that you might need some tight end depth this week. You mentioned Harold Fannin. I mean, he's got to be at least in consideration, a guy who's less than 1% rostered right now in ESPN leagues. Browns used a ton of heavy personnel, a ton of 2 tight end personnel in week 1, 55 snaps for Harold Fannin. And it's not like he was taken away necessarily from David Njoku, who played 64 snaps. I think these guys could coexist. And there's a real possibility to me, guys, that the Browns could trade David Njoku, who's in the final year of his contract. I know it's not the NBA where guys like that are just automatically dealt, but it really makes no sense for Cleveland to keep him past the deadline. So he's somebody that you could pick up and use in the short term and then could really pay dividends later in the season. If we want to go a little bit deeper, Juwan Johnson, he's like 1% rostered right now, played 74 out of 75 snaps for the Saints. They have 2 other tight ends, Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau, who are both on the PUP list right now. There's just no competition whatsoever for Juwan Johnson. 11 targets for him in week 1, tied his career high with 8 catches, 76 yards. Not going to be doing that every week, of course, but at the same time, the Saints couldn't run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively really at all this season, and no team may be playing from behind more than the New Orleans Saints. So even though the quality of the targets may be called into question, I think we're going to see a heavy pass script from Spencer Rattler just by default.
All right, Nick, let's get to the game tonight. Great matchup, Monday Night Football. Minnesota has owned Chicago, going back on a 7-1 run. I think Christmas has come early today, though, with a player. And I know in the summer we talked to Paul Charchian. He loved everything Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason, a league in touchdowns. Jordan Mason, they get 2 tonight. He's going to be the goal line back. Who's your source, Paul? Oh, Aaron Jones. I talked to him at the draft party. So plus 180 on Jordan Mason, anytime touchdown?
I'm doing it. I even found a plus 190 out there earlier today, guys. So make sure you shop around. I mean, Minnesota brought in Jordan Mason for a very, very distinct reason. Like they could have had any of these, kind of retread RB2 types around the NFL, and they went and seeked out a guy who was a great goal line back. I mean, Minnesota, for as many points as they were putting up, for as many games as they won last season, they were a consistently bad red zone team. I mean, 55% conversion rate in the red zone last year. That was 19th in the NFL. It was worse than the Miami Dolphins. I think he's going to get the goal line work right away. And I would not be surprised if by midseason he ends up kind of being the primary running back for this team. Almost a Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet type of situation like we're seeing unfold in Seattle. I mean, you look at what Aaron Jones did in the red zone last year. I love Aaron Jones as a player. He's not the red zone back that he was 3 or 4 years ago in Green Bay. 24 carries inside the 10-yard line, converted only 3 of those into touchdowns. He had 13 carries inside the 5-yard line and finished with -2 total yards on those carries. So I think they are done with that experiment. I think if Minnesota has a drive that they work inside the 10, inside the 5, we're going to see Jordan Mason end up cashing that in. And I don't know if we see a high volume passing script overall, right? I mean, it's basically the debut of essentially a rookie quarterback in JJ McCarthy. As much as you'd like to be able to unleash him right away, as much as I trust Kevin O'Connell, I think you have to play this relatively conservatively in his true NFL debut.
Is that why you like the under too? It was 45, but now 43 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the potential of the Ben Johnson offense with all these weapons in Chicago, the potential of that hitting the ground running does scare me a little bit. At the same time, you have a great defense, a defense that was awesome last year, that added even more pieces, that has maybe the best DC in the NFL on the other side. So I think if it was against a different opponent, I wouldn't necessarily love the under here because I think there is some real potential for Chicago to take a step forward. But so many question marks, I think, for both of these offenses. As much as I respect Ben Johnson, kind of got to see it before we officially buy in. Again, really tough matchup against Brian Flores. And then, we'll see on JJ McCarthy, man. I'm here in Packerland, here in Wisconsin. People were excited when the Vikings took JJ McCarthy. I don't know when things flipped and we just decided that he's just going to be great from the jump. I need to see it before I believe it.
So if he does go to a guy like a one individual player tonight more than any other. Are you looking to target Justin Jefferson, who of course is going to come in with big numbers anyway because of who he is with the prop markets? Or do you want to look at a tight end position? You want to look at a secondary receiver? Who do you want to focus on here as JJ's maybe number one target overall?
For me, it's TJ Hawkinson. And, it's worth noting, of course, no Jordan Addison to begin the year. He's suspended for the first 3 games. Yeah, they go out and get Adam Thielen, who has familiarity with Minnesota, but he has no familiarity with JJ McCarthy himself. So for me, it's TJ Hawkinson. Looking at over 4.5 receptions. You can get that at plus money at just about any book right now. 19 targets for TJ Hawkinson in the 2 games against Chicago last year. I think he's just the classic safety valve option here, right? JJ McCarthy's he's not going to throw the ball 12 times in this game, but I also think they don't want him throwing it 38 to 40 times unless they absolutely have to. I think this is script the first couple of drives. Don't take any shots that you don't need to take down the field. Find your reliable tight end over the middle. And I think TJ Hawkinson, to me, ends up being the guy. So Justin Jefferson will get his, but I don't love betting the over on that at whatever it is, 7.5.
Right.
For the debut of McCarthy. So a little more comfortable with Hawkinson.
Okay, and then one guy that you would look at with the Bears as well. Who would it be?
On the Bears side of things, it's so tough to figure out because it felt like every week during training camp, you'd hear a story about DJ Moore, and then it was Olamide Zaccheaus, and then it was Luther Burden. The guy I'm curious to see, though, is last year's first-round pick, Rome Odunze. And I'm looking at the over 3.5 receptions for him. The closer we've gotten to week 1, the more it seems like he's going to be functioning as that true number 1, that X receiver. That doesn't mean DJ Moore is going to be totally marginalized, but I think they want Rome Odunze to take a huge step forward this season. I don't think that was ever going to happen under Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus. I think as last year went along, that became clear that was just going to be a sinking ship. But if there's one guy who can unlock Rome Odunze, who to me was my favorite receiver in the draft last year, it is Ben Johnson. So he's a guy I would look to tonight on the Chicago side.
Follow Nick on X. He is at WHA, the number 1 EN, and he's also with RotoWire, and they have tons of unbelievable information every single football season. Nick, thanks for the time today. Good luck tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Great job.
And he was on the Progressive guest line.
NFL season underway. The edge goes to those with the best data. VSiN Pro delivers real-time DK and Circa betting splits so you can see where the public and sharps are putting their money. In the morning email recapping every best bet, every host, every guest. 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app and all the tools and the prop analyzer. Get it $9.99. Save big, $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Win some, lose some. Up next, Paulie will tell you about all the big tickets that cashed and maybe the worst beat of the entire baseball season.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Busy hour on tap in 15 minutes, a rookie report. Paulie mentioned a kid who could go off yesterday on our Sunday morning show. Boy, did he deliver. Warren Sharp on the program coming up in 30 minutes. The good, the bad, and the ugly at the back end of the program here. It's an absolute treat as professional sports bettor Paul Bovey joins the program. He's in studio today. Good afternoon, Paul. Good to see you again. How are you?
Great. Good to see you guys.
Let's start here, and we'll maybe dive into the Monday night game as well. You're a lifelong Giants guy. Boy, was that ugly yesterday. I said earlier, I've seen enough, not just based on one game, but Russell Wilson now 3+ years. He's completely cooked. He's done. I would make the move to Dart this week against the Cowboys. What say you?
Look, he's a horizontal thrower. I thought he would go to the tight end yesterday. He only went to Bellinger once. Theo, he went to once for 5 yards. But that's what he did for the last 2 years, and he's been discarded. I don't know. He's not the guy. But I didn't understand the support for the Giants because the one thing they have never addressed is that offensive line. Then you have the left tackle doubtful on Friday. So I didn't understand the move down to 5.5. I was huge on the under in this game. I gave it out in the Invitational. And I had a great day because of that, a great afternoon, I should say, because the evening did not end very well. But the Giants are very predictable at this point. They can't block for the quarterback. They didn't block for Barkley particularly well in 2018 when they drafted him. And, that's it. New York Giants.
Do you have any desire to back them this week against Dallas?
No way.
Okay.
Not with that offensive line. And if Thomas is not in there, forget it. Ilan Malor is not very good. Schmitz is not very good. And if you remember that opening Dallas game a few years ago, Daniel Jones got sacked 9 times.
That's right. Well, 41-0?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was nuts.
Coach him up. Week 1, last 3 years, outscored 89-12.
Oh.
It's ridiculous what's going on.
Did they beat Tennessee in week
At
1
the
his
end,
first year, D-ball? On the road?
Yes, they did.
Did they? Okay, good
yes,
memory.
They did.
Good call. It's been ugly the last 3 years. The other thing, too, we mentioned it yesterday on the show. I didn't hear one person make the case for Washington in the last month after the Giants won the Super Bowl in the preseason.
Yeah.
How about the Jets? What a job offensively.
Yeah.
I can't believe what they did to Pittsburgh and just gashing them on the ground. And then that turns into one of the most entertaining games of the day. What do you think of the Jets' perspective now they're taking on Buffalo?
Gashing was the right word. I mean, they had their number on the ground, that opening drive. They made a statement. They lose the game 34-32, and they shut down Pittsburgh's running game. I feel bad for these poor, beleaguered Jet fans who have gone through this. I watched that 69-70 Super Bowl, and you figure, okay, they're going to be back one day. Well, it's just been heartache after heartache, but they did an excellent job. There was synergy on offense, field 16-22, and then the ground game was working. So I like them this week over with the Bills. I got a good number, 44.5, minus 06, 45. The Bills allow 10 yards per play. I mean, what's that all about? So it's hard to bet this game under, especially considering the Jets, how good they looked on offense. You got Josh Allen. You got a Bills defense now, which is raising a lot of questions at this point.
Absolutely. That was ugly. What else worked for you yesterday? Why it was such a good afternoon?
What worked? I'll tell you what worked, and I got to thank you for it. You made mention on the show yesterday about Daniel Jones running, and I remember. So I went right into the account. Oh, 24 yards, beautiful. I'm gonna play it. And he was sitting at 26, and I'm saying, man, I've had such bad luck with Daniel Jones. Watch this guy take a knee and go under, and back up. But he landed at 26. You crushed the guy yesterday. Daniel Jones, 200 yards passing in the first half. I've defended this guy for the last 5 years. He does not handle pressure well, but if you give him protection, that's how he scored the bag with the Giants a few years ago.
Okay, as a guy who's been doing this for a long time, how much do you take away from a week 1 performance like that from Indy's side, but also with Miami? Like, what do you do? You can't really go nuts and completely overreact, even though Miami looked like the worst team in football yesterday.
Miami had 210 yards of offense, and 100 of it came on the last drive or in the last 2 drives. It was as bad or worse than it would appear on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Jones, 200 yards in the first half?
Yeah.
When does that happen? It was just, and we all know, I'm sure you guys have discussed it, they scored on their first 7 drives. It was just a joke. And the Dolphins, lack of protection, the defensive back, storm duck back there, they can't guard guys. And Daniel Jones, precision-like passing, he controlled the offense. I don't know how it's going to look this week when he gets some pressure, but give him credit out of the box week 1.
No preparation. And horrendous that you have to come out if you're McDaniel and say, oh, I didn't know it looked like it, but we put a lot of work in and actually practiced.
They look wildly unprepared.
It's like they just showed up and decided to play together. 12 men in the huddle, turnovers, 43 yards first half. Indy ran 43 plays.
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
It's crazy. Indy lost a couple guys on the offensive line, as you know, to Minnesota. So, if Daniel Jones did not figure to get protection, and he did.
What do you think tonight? Interesting game. 1.5 point move to the under in this game.
Okay, so we all know Williams was bad last year. I'm going to use the word bad. I'm going to be kind. And he didn't get better because the last 5 games, 3 of the games, he was 148 yards passing or less. But no team in the league has done more work on their offensive line than the Chicago Bears. And we all know they brought over Ben Johnson. They bring over on the offensive line Jonah Jackson, Tooney, and Talmadge at center. All 3 of these guys are top ranked in terms of pass protection as well as on for the run. So their receivers aren't great, but I figured there's going to be a massive upgrade in Chicago's offensive performance. the question beckons, what's going to happen on the defensive side? Because there's two guys in the secondary that are questionable. Jalen Johnson and Kyler are questionable. Edwards is out. So this is a tough spot for McCarthy on the road to start off with. I mean, there is no doubt, and I would lean to the Bears, but the caveat is you got to watch what happens with respect to the injury report and these guys in the secondary, because if both guys are out, I'm backing off. 14 passes defended combined last year.
Jalen Johnson is thought of as like completely elite in the league.
Yeah.
He's one of the best there is.
Exactly.
And then how much do you take away from what happened yesterday to Jared Goff and the Lions? That offense did not look the same. One game without Ben Johnson now, and can that be correlated into tonight's matchup?
I take a lot away because, the wide receivers had less than 100 yards of receiving. St. Brown had 45, and then it was scattered amongst 3 or 4 other guys. It was all Laporta. It was just a dink and dunk offense.
Yeah.
And if you back out the 25-yard completion to Laporta and the 45 and the other one to if you back out, there were 2 completions in there that totaled 70 yards. Let me put it to you that way.
Okay.
And if you back out those completions, he was under 5 yards per attempt. That's not very good. I take a lot out of it. Apparently, the retirement of Ragnow is definitely going to have an effect. The offensive line didn't look great. This just did not look like the same team.
Okay. So you're going to wait to see what the injury report's going to look like before you make a bet. And if those guys are good to go, you're going to be on the Bears.
I'm going to be on the Bears.
Okay. And you said that you bet the Jets-Bills over 44.5 minus 6 cents, over 45 minus 112 you bet it at. That you moved the number. You were part of the move anyway today. 45. Would you play 45.5 over, or is that too key of a number?
Okay. There are certain numbers which play with your brain. Okay. Team totals 24.5.
Yep.
I just don't like to do it. 17.5, because you got to get to 18, 19, 20. 45 on the total is a key number. We all know 24-21 is a real possibility. Same with 51, 27-24. So in answer to your question, when I look at the board, I'm looking for value. And there was value there. Do I like the game? Yes. When value and what I like line up, I'm going to press the button. And that was the case in this situation.
Okay. You have a couple of college bets as well. You bet Duke over 52.
I bet Duke over 52 right here. I think it's sitting at 53.5 right now. They moved a full point on, a dime. Menza did what he wanted last week. I mean, they brought him over from Tulane for a reason. 23 of 34, 334. The team went up and down the field. It was a very sexy pick yesterday in the Invitational, just like the Giants were. I was on that sexy pick. Unfortunately, they turned the ball over 5 times and just couldn't get in the end zone. But on the other side, Altmaier was 22 of 31 for 284. He posted a 180 rating, which if you look at his career, he's only exceeded that twice. Once again, against Eastern Kentucky. So this is a guy that can definitely, in Mensa, move the ball up and down the field. But I question this Duke's defense. And as far as Tulane, they brought over the transfer from BYU, and he's pretty good. They gave up 31 to South Alabama, and, I just think it's going to be points.
Good job, Paul. The VSiN Average Joe contest from Edge Boost, all about the weekly prizes. Each week you make 7 picks, NFL or college. Highest score that week cash is $500. If you already have an Edge Boost account, they double it to $1,000. And while you're chasing the wins, you'll be in the mix for the big quarterly prizes, airfare and hotel at Circa, in-studio spot on a show, free to play. Enter anytime this season. VSiN.com/Joe. Thanks for the incredible response. Go get him. VSiN.com/Joe.
By the way, you can follow him on X at Paul Bovey. Up next, a rookie report, and one guy that Paulie mentioned yesterday who had a great game.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Time now to head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Warren Sharp joins the program now. You can follow him on X. He is at Sharp Football. The website is sharpfootballanalysis.com. And right now, you can get 50% off weekly packages when you use the code VSiN50. That's sharpfootballanalysis.com. Use the code VSiN50. Warren, good afternoon. Thanks for the time. Good to see you again here. You joined us twice yesterday on the Sunday morning show as well. Let's begin with what you observed with the Detroit passing game and Jared Goff week one here with no more Ben Johnson calling the plays.
It was a big factor. I mean, they obviously couldn't run the football. I shared some of those stats out on X about how the run game was nowhere close to what we were getting from this team last year. But I was more interested in the passing game. Specifically, Ben Johnson really increased Jared Goff's under center rate. His play action usage rate made everything look the same and allowed Jared Goff to have a lot more success throwing the football down the field. And when I'm looking at some of these numbers, Jared Goff held the ball in the first half of the game over 3 seconds on 50% of his dropbacks. He had the 5th lowest pressure rate, and yet he still averaged only 1.6 air yards per attempt in the first half. Think about that. 1.6 air yards for this offense with one of the lowest pressure rates in the NFL. Did not make any sense. Why you're holding the football for that long, you're not being pressured, and yet you're averaging just 1.6 air yards per attempt. Those things don't typically go together. That just feels like a quarterback who's not very comfortable. Now, obviously, we have to put some credit to the Green Bay Packers defense, some of the things they did, but they played very little man, sat back in zone, didn't put a lot of pressure, didn't bring a lot of blitzes, and Jared Goff just didn't know what to do with the football and was just dumping it underneath for very little gain. And when you don't have that run game, which never got established correctly, it was a problem. So I just don't know what we're going to get out of this new offensive coordinator. There's a lot of time to make adjustments, and they have good players on that roster, but they're going to have to make some of those changes soon because, as we remember, this Detroit Lions team plays the 3rd toughest schedule of opponents this year.
Yes, we were expecting changes with the Giants, although Dable's going to go back with Wilson in week 2. What'd you think of their O-line and the issues at the goal line?
Look, this statistic is pretty mind-boggling to me. They had 8 plays inside their opponent's 3-yard line, and the total gain was -1 yard on those 8 plays. They wound up with 3 total points by kicking a field goal. They have the worst offense inside of the 3-yard line of any team in the NFL over the last 3 years. So unfortunately, yes, it was terrible in week 1. It cost them. They were down 7-0. They had first and goal at the 8, lost 2 yards, got down to the 2-yard line on a scramble, got an automatic first down due to a penalty on the Commanders' defense, and then 3 plays, gained nothing, and then they came back in the fourth quarter, did the same thing. They were down in the 3-yard line, 4 straight Russell Wilson incompletions. I just don't know. This team consistently does 2 things that just infuriate me. They do not start games well. They cannot score points in the first quarter of games, which sets them up to be playing from behind consistently. And they cannot score points down inside of the red zone. And when you're a team like this, which scores the fewest percentage of points from outside of the red zone of any team in the NFL, you have to be good inside of the red zone. You have to be consistent. And when you get them to the 3-yard line and you can't score on 8 plays, I mean, it's absurd. So the New York Giants, Russell Wilson clearly isn't the right guy for them. Putting a quarterback like him behind an offensive line like that, it's just not going to work out at this stage in his career. I don't know when we're going to see Jackson Dart, but I think that timeline just got sped up.
Well said. Absolutely. Totally agree. How about how Carolina struggled so much and what Bryce Young looked like? What was your takeaway from that performance?
Unfortunate, gross. Like Bryce Young averaged 4.4 yards per pass attempt. This offense struggled massively. This was something that I was predicting heading into the season, heading into last season. After what I saw from him, his rookie season, it didn't look good. This past year wasn't great. I wasn't expecting a lot coming into this 3rd year, but some people were expecting the Panthers maybe a dark horse from the NFC South. I looked at quarterback performance in the first half when quarterbacks were not being pressured. So forget garbage time in the 3rd, 4th quarter, especially in this game when it was a blowout. Look at the first half and look at when the quarterback was kept clean. Let's see how good these guys are with the script, with the design offense. Bryce Young, out of 30 qualifying quarterbacks, when clean in the first half, dead last in EPA, dead last in success rate, dead last in yards per attempt, dead last in passer rating. He was averaging 3.6 yards per attempt in the first half when kept clean. How do you average only 3.6 yards per attempt when you're not even being pressured? Then there was that shot of him like watching this helmet game on the Jumbotron at the stadium during a timeout when they were losing. I just, I don't buy Bryce Young, and that's a problem that's getting old quickly.
So I was actually, when I read your preview book, I did not see that one coming. Just because it's like, okay, we watched it, and it looked like it improved a lot last year for Bryce Young, and they were scoring. And when I read your book on Carolina, it's like, pump the brakes, guys. Like, it's not that good. And when you dove into it, it was like, wow, that's pretty telling, actually, when you go and look at all the numbers underneath the surface.
Yeah, I have another stat here. In 29 career starts for Bryce Young, the Panthers have led at halftime just 5 times. That is the lowest of any qualifying quarterback since 2000 in terms of total leads in his first 2 years or percentage of games that he's led at halftime. So he just plays too poorly early on, and it causes his team to fall behind. And I'm a big proponent of playing from ahead to build leads so that you have more options at your disposal in the second half of games so that you can be unpredictable. That's just not the case for Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. And that stretch where he played really well last year was against the easiest schedule of opposing defenses that any quarterback faced.
Warren, what did you make of the numbers that Aaron Rodgers put up, and when you did a deep dive on that, and how it looks maybe moving forward here in this passing offense with Arthur Smith and also Mike Tomlin as the head coach?
Yeah, let's share a little bit of positivity. I can't be negative for everybody. So I was obviously impressed, as I'm sure most people were. But my biggest question heading into the pairing of Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith is, how will they coexist? It's not a hand-picked coordinator. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to do some things that he might not be comfortable with, utilize more play action, utilize outside the pocket passing. And in fact, he did. He had some of the highest rates in recent years. He had the highest play action rate of the last 4 seasons. He had the highest outside the pocket throw rate of the last 4 seasons, but he dominated throwing outside the pocket, averaged plus 0.8 EPA per attempt through 3 touchdowns outside the pocket. Play action, he was 8 of 10 for 101 yards, 3 touchdowns when using play action, his most touchdown passes off of play action in a decade. So I was very impressed with the pairing and how well it worked together. The thing is, Aaron Rodgers does not like to take hits. So he's getting rid of the ball very quickly and very short. And that's what he did here in Pittsburgh as well on early downs. 4.8 air yards per attempt, second lowest of any quarterback, 2.3 seconds time to throw, fourth lowest of any quarterback. But they still had a great design from Arthur Smith to get a lot of yards after the catch on those underneath passes. So it remains to be seen once opposing defense coordinators start to recognize what Arthur Smith is doing with Aaron Rodgers, if they can try to pull back some of that from him and give the benefit to the defense again. But for right now, they definitely were playing really well with this new style of offense.
How about a prop tonight for Monday Night Football, please?
Adam Thielen's longest reception under 15.5 yards. Adam Thielen apparently is going to be used exclusively from the slot tonight in 3 wide receiver sets, according to Ian. I think it was Tom Pelissero, actually. And 21% of Thielen's catches over the last 2 years have gained more than 15 yards. So this prop was at 16.5 earlier today. We bet the under there. Still at 15.5 everywhere. And that's still a good number, in my opinion. I just don't know how often he's going to be on the field, how often he's going to be targeted. And then, of course, there's the game script and everything else that comes with it. So I know his total yards is a good look as well. Some people were betting that. They got some better numbers that exist in the market right now. I want to say like 34.5, 33.5. They went under that. I kind of prefer the under on the longest, though, at 15.5 right now.
Oh, very good. Again, the kickoff sale is going on right now. Get 50% off weekly packages when you go to Warren's website, sharpfootballanalysis.com, and you use the code VSIN50. Warren, great stuff. Pleasure talking to you again. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
There you go. He's also on X at Sharp Football, and he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line.
VSiN Pro delivers real-time DraftKings and Circa betting splits so you can see where the public and Sharps are putting their money. The morning email from Bill 80 recaps every best bet, every host, every guest. The 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app, all the pro tools, and the prop analyzer at vsin.com. Everything you need to stay ahead of the game all season long. The website's awesome. all the articles that are up there. The Mackinnon betting systems, great stuff up there with Adam Burke with Week 3 college football already. Sign up now, just $9.99, or save 50% with an annual subscription. VSiN.com/subscribe today. VSiN.com/subscribe.
We're going to dive into the Monday night game coming up in about 20 minutes here between the two of us. We'll go over some touchdown numbers to look at tonight. And again, we'll tie in Jared Goff, what it looked like yesterday and in previous years. You know, Ben Johnson, fingerprints all over that dude, obviously, and then with Caleb Williams going tonight. Up next, maybe the NCAA needs to investigate this head coach, the good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend here on VSiN.